There she
Yay!
is. Hey! So everyone, this is Liz Frazier. I'm so excited to have her on today. Our daughters actually took dance lessons together a few years
They
back.
did.
That's
Oh,
how
they're
we
so
met.
cute.
So fun, right? But so
So
I'm super
fun.
excited when I saw you posting about your new book that's coming out. I was like, oh, perfect. I have to have her come on and share with everyone all about it and how to teach kids about money because there's so many adults that don't understand what to do with
Yeah,
money, right? So I feel
absolutely.
like starting
Absolutely.
young is crucial. So why don't you go ahead and just tell everyone a little bit about yourself? I told them the title on piggy banks and lemonades.
Oh,
And you were right? Did I say that right? And you're also with you
yes,
have your own
Beyond
business,
Piggy
your
Banks
own
and Lemonade Stands.
okay, and you have your own financial consulting business called Frazier Financial Consultants out of Somers, New York. Is that all
You
right?
got it. Yep,
Okay, good.
you
All
got
right.
it.
So tell us a little
Yeah,
bit
you're all right.
about
It is.
you and your background. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love
Also,
to. Is my
sorry. Did you hear
volume
me?
good?
Okay. Yeah, you're great. You're perfect.
And my
We might have a
volume's
little
good?
delay,
Okay.
but yep, you're good.
We've got a delay. That's okay.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here and so good to see you. And yeah, so I
Me
am
too.
a financial planner. I'm a fee-only financial planner. And I started out after I had kids because, you know, kids just
Mhm.
change everything. I was working for
Yeah.
Forbes, I was working in marketing, and I had my kids, and I went into like crazy mama bear mode. And I got my will, I got my life insurance. I got
Yeah.
my budgeting together, my savings, everything together. And I realized that I really wanted to do this as a living. And my
Hmm.
family has a financial planning practice. So I went into business with them. And so from there, I started practicing, started seeing clients up here, which I loved. It's really a lot more like counseling than anything
Sure.
else.
Hmm.
So, really helping people solve their problems and figuring out how they can use money to reach their goals, which is
Hmm.
just, I think a lot of people don't think of money as like a tool that they can
Hmm.
use. So I love doing that for people. And then, getting into kind of the writing stuff that I've been doing, I was out with my husband. We were in Vegas. He was working on an event there for Forbes. And it was like a pretty typical thing where, we had been at the pool all day. I'd had a pina colada. I was like tired.
Sounds
We had
lovely.
this, it was lovely. And we had dinner, with friends from Forbes. And I wanted to do it, but I was like cozy in bed. And I was just like, oh God, I don't know. I think I'm just going to stay home. Then I was like, no, I'll be happy that I did it. I'm going to go. So I ended up sitting next to Matt Schifrin, who's the managing editor of Forbes.com. And I might not be getting his title right. But he was a friend of mine. And so he and I are chit chatting. And he's like, what are you doing now? And I'm like, well, I'm a CFP. I'm a financial planner. And he was like, do you write? And I'm like, sure. I mean, I write. I was in graduate school.
I
I
am
did
literate.
essays. I'm literate. And he was like, do you want to be a contributor? And I always think back to Richard Branson's quote when he says, somebody asks you to do something and you don't know what it is, but you want to do it, just say yes and figure it out. So I'm like,
That's
yes,
right.
I want to write for Forbes. Awesome. So I came home, I emailed him and I was like, what do I do? This is great. And he was like, send me 3 pieces of your work. And I was like, I have no work, but give me 24 hours and I'll write you like 7 pieces. And he was like, just write me a piece and we'll see how it goes. So I wrote him a piece. He was like, this is great. Let's put it on Forbes and go from there. And I'll tell you, I was terrified.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I put that, it was so out of my wheelhouse, so out of my comfort zone. I put that piece on Forbes. I don't know what I thought was going to happen, but I was waiting for somebody, literally like the police, to show up at my house. Or like,
who are you?
Yeah, what do you think you're doing?
What business,
like,
right?
Yeah, I was waiting for like Steve Forbes to call me himself and be like, you've ruined our business. I was so terrified of the whole thing.
Yeah.
But nothing bad happened, and people started, saying, oh, I like your writing style. It's really simple. I get it. Finance is kind of boring, and this isn't as boring as a lot of finance. And so I started writing with them a lot more. I got more comfortable with it. The beginning was I was just like, I just verified. But then I started writing more and more and started getting more comfortable and finding my voice, and then really starting to find things that I was passionate about writing, specifically about writing about teaching young kids finance.
I love that. I love that. So first of
Yeah.
all, you're amazing. Like you are
Oh,
exactly
thanks.
the kind of mom that like I am passionate about, like just going
Oh,
for it, right? Like just because you have kids doesn't mean everything has to stop if you don't want it to. And I
nope.
just love how you said yes first and you figured it out later. So
Yeah.
amazing. But so getting back to your tips, so like what is one crucial thing about money that you think kids under 10 really need to understand? I know that's a big age range. You know, first, what age do you think they should start learning about money? When is it like developmentally appropriate? And then what's one thing for that age range that they really need to understand?
Well, so there's this huge movement now about financial literacy for kids, which is awesome. And I
Yeah.
love it. And it kind of stemmed, and I'm saying this, I don't know if this is absolute fact, but for me, it looks like it started to stem a couple years ago when this study came out saying that kids start to develop financial behaviors as early as 6 years old.
Okay.
Which is terrifying. Because none of us,
Yeah.
no parents, like no parents are thinking about that at 6. We've got a million other things we're thinking about. But so as early as 5 and 6, I think parents should start teaching their kids finance. And that does not mean sitting down and talking to them about what Bitcoin means. You know, we're taking baby steps, but we want to get them comfortable with finance at an early age, the same way we teach them about nutrition and safety. You know, if you think about something like swimming, you wouldn't at age, 15, take your child to the pool and be like, let's teach you how to swim today. You start, you start sitting on the steps a little bit, getting your baby toes in, getting them comfortable. It's the same thing with finance. You want to start building a foundation. So I think start as early as you can. I started with my daughter at 5. My son is 3, and all he does is just throw money across the room. And, so it's the last point. But my daughter is really starting to understand it. We play needs versus wants games, and she's really into that. And she'll call me all the time on ththings. Like I'll say, I'll look outside and be like, I really need a bigger backyard. And she'll go, you want a bigger backyard. You don't need a bigger backyard.
Oh, that's so huge.
Right.
Yeah.
But so, it's really hard to think about the one thing because it's builds. But I would say that the most important thing for kids under the age of 10 is to learn smart decision making. Yeah. And there's a couple pieces to that. So the first part is that kids need to understand that when they're spending money, they're making a decision. So instead of just they see us all the time. We just give them a card and we spend money, and it doesn't look like we're really making a decision, but we are. So kids need to understand that when they buy something with that $5, that it's a decision. They're making that decision to not spend that $5 on something else. So for parents, it's important to us to walk them through the decision-making process, as painful as it is. So when we see them going to Target and saying, I want to spend $5 of my allowance on this junky piece of junk plastic toy, and our mom brains are screaming, this is junk and it's going to break, just quiet it down and say, okay, so this is the decision you're making. Identify that it's a decision. And then the second part of that is just talk through the alternatives. So they understand that if you don't buy this, that means you can't buy something with that $5 later, or you can't save later, something like that. And then close your mouth and let them make the decision.
Let them do. Yeah.
Let
the
them
hardest
do the
part.
decision. So hard. And let them make the decision. They'll come home. Inevitably, 10 minutes later, the piece of junk is going to break. And, your mom head is going, of course it did, because it's a piece of junk. But, again, put that away and just talk to them about it and ask them a couple questions and say, I know that's disappointing. Why do you think it broke? And, would you have bought that again? Or do you think maybe you would have rather buy something else with this? So this does a couple things. Making decisions, learning how to make decisions. First of all, it sets them up for life. All we care about with our kids is that they know how to make smart decisions. And this is for finance, nutrition, safety, everything. Spouses, everything. The second part is that it teaches them how to budget. They're learning about that if I spend money here, I don't have money to spend here. And then finally, this is allowing them to start making mistakes early. And that's so important because you know what? They buy a piece of junk and it breaks. Who cares? It doesn't matter. But when they get older and if they're thrown in, which is most people
college, that first credit card.
Yes, exactly. They
Mm-hmm.
don't learn early, and their first mistakes are a high interest credit card, or
Mm-hmm.
getting above their head in mortgage, or
Mm-hmm.
living above their means, really expensive student debt. And making mistakes at that age can have lifelong consequences. And so if they're
Mm-hmm.
making these decisions at a young age, it doesn't matter. There's a little bit of pain, but they learn from it and then they don't do it again. And I'm just going to go ahead and
Absolutely.
slide in there because I'm a big fan of allowance, and that's
Mm-hmm.
what why I think allowance is important, because
Yep.
it's not they're not going to save for like college. They're not going to,
Mm-hmm.
it's just allowing them to practice with money.
Yes. And giving them the key that I'm taking away of what you said is giving them the experience. We could
Totally.
lecture them until we're blue in the face, but for them to actually go into the store, take money out of their jar, make that decision and then live with the consequences if it's a bad one is invaluable. So I love
Yeah,
that advice. And then how do
absolutely.
you build on that for tweens? Like once they get a little older and their friends are getting cell phones and they're worried about the name brand clothes, if that's important to them, like how do you build on that when they get into the older ages?
It's a great question. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that as they get older, you give them more independence and you
Mm-hmm.
allow more decision making and more mistakes. And I think a big
Mm-hmm.
part of that, which I just did an article about this earlier, I think it was in People magazine, and we were talking about
Awesome.
allowance, and we're talking about as teenagers, you could still give them allowance, but instead of, when they're kids, you're giving it to them weekly and it's more about the practicing with money. As they get older, give it to them monthly and make it their budget. So be very specific and say, so
Mm.
this money that I'm giving you is for the extra clothes above and beyond what I'm buying you for. It's for the extra books that you want. It's for the extra toys. It's for the vacation that you're saving for, whatever it is, the extra
Mm-hmm.
snacks at lunch, whatever that is. Give them a budget and help them in the beginning of the month. Say, okay, you've got this amount of money. This should get you through the month if you budget like this. But if they blow it all in the first week, they
Yeah.
don't get anything else. I mean, obviously the parents are taking care of their needs, but the rest of the month they're
Yeah,
out. They're out of
another
money.
hard lesson for adults.
Um,
Yeah, because it's that whole instant versus delayed gratification and how hard that is. Even for me as an
yeah.
adult, sometimes I'm like, oh, I really want that. I think I'm just going to get it, and then I regret
Yes.
it
Yeah.
later because I'm like, oh, I didn't really need it, and teaching that
I
at a
know.
young age when they can, like you said, make those mistakes with a safety net is crucial. So I love
Yeah.
that.
Thank you.
Great.
Yeah.
So what's one thing that parents can do? Say parents of young kids, ages 5 to 10 to 12, I would say. What's one thing they could do this summer to start kind of getting maybe an activity or something to start getting these money concepts drilled in?
It's a great question. There's a couple things they can do. I think the biggest thing is giving them opportunities to make money. So
Mm-hmm.
this could be through an allowance, which I've talked about and I talk
Mm-hmm.
about all the time, but I do think an allowance, whether you do it based on chores or whether you do it based on just giving them a certain amount each week, I don't
Mm-hmm.
think it really matters. It depends what's best on your family, but giving them allowance so that they have money to practice on. Another thing is you can give them just jobs, like have them have a
Mm-hmm.
job this summer. Obviously you're not going to go and like put an application for Applebee's, but like give them,
Right.
but you can help them come up with summer jobs like a dog washing business
Yeah.
or car washing business or a lemonade stand, which is a
Mm-hmm.
great one to do. And all of these kind of little jobs that your kids can do over the summer, treat them like real jobs. Come up with a
Mm-hmm.
business plan in
I
the
love
beginning
that.
where
Yeah.
you come up like, what's your target market? Where's the
Mm-hmm.
location? What's the price point? What's the
Mm-hmm.
competition? What's Nancy
Yeah.
down the
What's
street
going to
doing
make
with the
yours
lemonade stand?
special? Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then
Right.
keep them involved the entire process, have them make the signage, have them make the decisions, have them actually obviously be the one do the work, whether it's a lemonade stand, dog washing, bake
Mm-hmm.
sale, raking their neighbors' leaves. A mommy's helper is a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Any of those things. And then at the end, help them with the business math. And this can sound intimidating to even
Mm-hmm.
adults if you're thinking about
Mm-hmm.
like cost of goods sold and things like that. None of us are accountants.
P&L,
I'm not an
right,
accountant.
right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
So, but you can help them walk through, count up all the money that you made and then subtract all of the money that you put into it for the
Mm-hmm.
materials, the food, whatever it is. And then you subtract that from the revenue and then you have your profit. And that's exciting
Mm-hmm.
for kids.
So especially when they can either save it or go spend it.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
I love that. I have to start brainstorming. I definitely want to do that this summer. So, so fun.
Yeah.
So again,
Yeah.
I'm all about like moms in business. So tell us like, what is the most surprising thing maybe that you've learned about yourself or just about business or getting into writing that you've discovered on your journey from, first time Forbes contributor now to author of your first book, Beyond Piggy Banks and Lemonade Stands, available for pre-order on Amazon. What
Thank
is,
you.
you're welcome. What is like the most surprising thing you've learned in this journey?
Um, I think that it's just you really have to create your own opportunities. You really do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, and that's not for everybody. There are a lot of people that I know and love and respect and are just very happy with
Mm-hmm.
where they are in life and they're living in the
Sure.
moment and they work
Mm-hmm.
so that they can come home and be with their
Mm-hmm.
children, and everybody is different. But if you're
Yep.
somebody who's like me, and I think like
Mm-hmm.
you, and there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of,
Mm-hmm.
especially moms out there who are just looking for something more, you have to
Mm-hmm.
go find it. And that's,
Mm-hmm.
that first meeting that I had at the Forbes conference, and I was terrified. I didn't know what I was doing, and I was just like, yes, yes, I'll do it. This
Yeah.
sounds like something I'd be really interested in. And then I had a
Mm-hmm.
publisher reach out to me when she from Roman and Littlefield, who's wonderful. And they reached out to me when they saw Forbes article, and they said, would you be interested in a book about this? And that had always been my dream. But like, which one of us are like, oh, you know what? Let's take 6 months and write a book. I mean,
Sure.
it's hard to
Doesn't
prioritize.
happen.
So yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So she asked, and I was like, yes. And then since then, I have been actively contacting every person that I know who's in the business to learn from them and to also help others, because
Mm-hmm.
opportunities go both ways. It's made me really attuned to when somebody just emailed me their resume and said, I'm looking for an internship. And, a lot of times you're busy and I'm like, well, I don't need an intern, so you don't pay attention. But now I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I
Who
want to
do I
help them like
know?
people
Mm-hmm.
helped me. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
connecting other people.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that that's been the big thing, is that really opportunities are everywhere, but you
Mm-hmm.
have to find them. You have to go out and actively find them, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
relationships, whether it's job, whether it's friends, what, excuse me, whatever it is, you have
Mm-hmm.
to be the one actively going out there and like just looking everywhere for them and making them happen. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
it's been really exciting and it's really empowering, because instead of just sitting there thinking, oh, I don't like my job and I wish I was doing something
Mm-hmm.
else, it's really an empowering, and it makes you feel really confident and excited and
Mm-hmm.
inspiring to like know that you can make it happen. And you build on that traction, that excitement. So I think that that's probably been really the coolest thing
I
about this
love
whole
that.
thing.
Yeah. It's like that
Yeah.
whole idea of living your life versus letting your life live you,
Yes.
and like
Such a
falling
good
into the
saying.
rut. And right. That so resonates with me. It's like you have
Yeah.
to go out and actively create the opportunities that you want to see.
Yeah.
So I love that. So where can everyone find you as far as your financial planning? I'm sure you have a website or Facebook page, and then also maybe we could put the link below for your book. But where, if they want to reach out to you for advice, where can people find you?
Well, I'm a Westchester-based financial planner, but I can do financial planning virtually from anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm fee only, which means I do hourly work. I don't
Mm-hmm.
sell anything like that. And I don't manage investments,
Mm-hmm.
but I do retirement planning and budgeting and investment advice and things like that. So you can
Mm-hmm.
find me either through my email, which is lfp.ffc@gmail.
Mm-hmm.
All of my contact information is on my website, which is
Okay.
lizfrazier.com. And the Beyond Piggy Banks and Lemonade Stands, How to Teach Young Kids About Finance, is available on Amazon for pre-order. And I will just say that pre-order, apparently, because again, first time
Yeah.
author, but pre-order sales are so important to the success of a book. So if you're interested in it, I would so be appreciative if you bought a pre-order copy
Absolutely.
of it. Yeah.
Yep. I'm going on to get mine now. I can't wait to read it.
Thank
You are
you.
my
Thanks.
people. I love your energy. I love
Oh,
your outlook. I love everything you're doing. So thank you so much for being on today. And
thank
that's it.
you.
We're all set.
Oh,
Yeah. So please, anyone watching later, post questions below, because maybe we could come back and we don't have a lot of live viewers during the day, but they will watch later. So maybe
okay.
you could go back and
Anytime.
answer any questions online later.
I
All
would
right,
love
thank
to.
you
This
so
is
much.
so fun.
So fun. Thanks for being here. All right,
Thanks
everybody,
for
you
having
are
me.
all caught up. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.